Feeding our furry friends the right food. It's a worry for a lot of pet owners.
I just try to stay away from anything that I don't recognize.
Look for natural, fresh.
Well, we all want to feed our pets the best food possible, but what do we really know about what we're giving them to eat?
One expert says we are perhaps not paying attention to the things that really matter. Hank Winchester has advice for that in tonight's Help Me Hank report.
Our pets, well, they're members of our families. That's why you want to make sure their food they're eating, well, that's actually good for them. As you'll see, sometimes the labels can be confusing and misleading.
We all remember dog food commercials like this.
Wow, my dog doesn't do that.
Yeah, she gets pretty excited about her kibbles and bits.
But now they're just a little bit different.
That slow roasted chicken, a carrot, you'll see them in every dish from Nutrish Recipe.
So why the switch? University of Florida Associate Professor Dr. Richard Hill says it's more a reflection of society.
People want to feed their dogs like they feed themselves.
People at the Midtown Dog Park agree and say they look for all natural products for their pet.
I just think it's best for the dog. You don't really want to give them something you wouldn't want to eat. Just reading those top ingredients to make sure I recognize all the labels.
So we basically try to look at the ingredients so we know how to pronounce and we know what they are. And if we do, then it's a win.
They really should pay less attention to the ingredients and more attention to the nutrients that are present in the food.
He says look for complete and balanced on the label, and that the food meets the nutritional profile by the Association of American Feeding Controlling Officials, or AAFCO.
If a dog eats this food, it will get all the nutrients that it needs, and it doesn't need any supplements.
You've probably heard words like byproducts and meal. He says meal just means the meat has been cooked and rendered into a dry product. Byproducts just means the rest of the carcass.
What does a cat normally eat? It eats mice. It eats birds. It doesn't slice off the meat. All right, it doesn't take just the breast, all right, and leave the rest. It eats the whole thing, all right? It needs to eat the whole thing because the whole thing contains all the nutrients it needs.
He also says one of the biggest myths out there, that dogs can't eat carbs and that foods with them are unhealthy.
In fact, dogs are able to deal with that quite.
Okay, so what about the fancy brands versus the average dog food you may find at your local grocery store?
It's a bit like if you buy different cars. All right? You can buy an expensive car and you can get a cheap car. They both will probably get you to Orlando, but one might be a better experience.
However, Hill says there are some mistakes that most pet owners make. The first one, keep your pet's food in the house in an airtight container.
Buy smaller bags of food. So you need to be, your animal needs to be eating this inside a month.
Next, most of us are feeding our pets way too much.
Make sure that your animal stays lean, it'll stay healthier, it'll live longer.
And finally, many give their pets way too many of their calories in their treats.
There have been pet food scandals in the past, but the best thing that you can do is pay attention to your pet, to their behavior. See if you notice any changes in their overall well-being, and of course, maintain a good relationship with your vet. I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank. Back to you.
Eunice looks just as good on TV as Hank.
Eunice was ready for her star turn there. It's stunning to learn that complete and balanced actually means something.
Who would have thought
instead of
that?
just sort of
Right,
words.
Right.
Yeah,
Fascinating stuff.